Tech scams, identity thieves, data leaks. Hearing about these online threats every day can be stressful. But don't worry. McAfee Total Protection is here to help you live a worry-free life online. What does worry-free mean? Well, it means you won't have to wonder if that text message is a scam, if new threats will pop up on your PC, or if you're safe from identity theft. Visit McAfee.com/online protection today to get award-winning online protection for just $39.99 your first year. That's McAfee.com/online protection. Cancel anytime. Terms apply.
Welcome to an exclusive episode of Mind Love. Today's episode is all about how to make better decisions.
When is the right time to focus on my emotions, and when is the right time to focus on my thinking? It's on the feeling versus the thinking, on the emotions versus the logic. When you're focusing on the emotions, the important time to focus on the emotions is when you're thinking about your values. What do you care about? What kind of goals do you want to achieve? What's your aspiration? Where do you want to see yourself in life? It drives me, motivates me, and sets the broad values and goals that I'm aspiring toward. So that's the emotional part. Now, the logical part, the rational part, is how do I actually get there? What are the tactics I use? What are the strategies I use? How do I organize good systems, good processes within the company? How do I motivate people? How do I make sure people are held accountable? All of those things. The path that you follow should be logical and rational. Your destination should be emotional and value-based.
We talk a lot about getting in touch with your intuition and letting that inner voice guide you. But what about straight up logical decision making? Intuition is really powerful, and it's the number one thing that I've been working on connecting to, but mostly because our conditioning cuts us off from it completely. But here's the thing. It's that same conditioning that creates our own cognitive biases. See, most of the time, we humans just want to confirm what we already believe, or what we want to believe. Sometimes it's hard to differentiate between when our soul is guiding us towards something and when we're just experiencing an oversight in our mental processing. Kind of like that time I stayed in the most toxic relationship of my life because I really believed that I was the person who saw who he truly was, when in reality, I was ignoring who he truly was and seeing only what I wanted to see. Or when I invested a lot of time in a company that gave me stock options because I really wanted to be in one of those startups that took off and made everyone rich. When in reality, if I would have just stepped out of that excitement and that emotion for a minute, I could have been honest with myself about a ton of red flags. Most people have heard of the confirmation bias. You know, that tendency to favor information that confirms your belief and ignore information that goes against your beliefs. In fact, we spoke a lot about it in episode 106. But there are actually a lot of these mental biases, like the self-serving bias. You know, when we give ourselves credit for everything that goes right, but blame failures on everything else. For example, when you reach a big goal, it's because of all the hard work you put into it. But if it doesn't work out, it's obviously because of the current state of the economy, right? This way of thinking does protect our self-esteem, but the problem is it doesn't really help us get better. Or a big one right now, the availability heuristic. It's a complicated name, but it's actually a pretty simple concept. It's when we tend to guess the probability of something based on how many examples come to mind. So an example of this is if you see a bunch of reports of break-ins in your neighborhood, or I don't know, a constant unending count of COVID cases and particular emphasis on severe cases, we start to think it's more probable than it actually is. Right now, I believe it's more important than ever to shed light on these cognitive biases. I think as a whole, we're craving truth more than ever, but we just aren't quite sure how to unmuddle these complicated minds of ours. So today we're going to put aside intuition for an episode and learn to think better. Pure, logical, and rational decision-making. And our guest is Dr. Gleb Topursky. He's a behavioral economist and cognitive neuroscientist with over 15 years' experience in consulting, coaching, and training with his company Disaster Avoidance Experts. He's also the author of Never Go With Your Gut. We don't see eye to eye on everything. He actually doesn't believe in intuition. Dude's not really down with the woo, but I totally believe in honoring one's expertise, and it makes total sense that the guy teaching effective, unbiased decision-making would have a strategy rather than a hunch. So 3 key things we will learn are how to identify which cognitive biases you're most vulnerable to, when to use feeling and when to use logic in your decisions, and 5 questions to ask yourself to avoid judgment errors. There'll also be a worksheet that goes along with this episode in your membership nook under bonuses. Hey there, Wild Minds. So this was just a preview, but you can access the whole episode with a Mind Love Premium membership. If Mind Love has been helpful to you in any way, consider helping support the show by joining this exclusive community. I promise I'm making it totally worth it. You get exclusive episodes, which means twice the Mind Love, in a private feed that imports right to your favorite podcast app, so you don't have to go to the web to listen. And that's not all. You also get all Mind Love episodes ad-free for uninterrupted listening. You get early access to episodes, and you get bonus video interviews and powerful meditation downloads. And finally, you get priority access to me, so you're free to reach out to me with any questions that you have about life, love, relationships, success, whatever it might be. And in more good news, you can get started free with a 2-week free trial. Just go to mindlove.com/premium. And if you're a student, reach out to me on Instagram and I'll give you a special discount.